Parliament provides an opportunity for young and emerging leaders to begin their journey in leaving a footprint in promoting democracy and proposing national policies to take effect in Guyana. The students are exposed to the lawmaking process and witness firsthand one of the highest arms of democratic administration upheld by the National Assembly. In this edition of InfoHub In Depth, we take a look back at the fourth edition of Guyana's Youth Parliament, which saw some 72 secondary and university students from across the country participating. The event was held from August 10 to 18 under the theme, Our Generation, Our Voice to Inspire, Encourage, Impact.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
It's time that adults see us as more than just replacements. We are to be recognized as fellow humans with different ways of seeing the world. And in this critical part of our lives, we need to be heard. And this opportunity gives us that opportunity and the experience, and this is an important part of our lives, and not only our lives, but also the youth that we will be representing in the Youth Parliament sitting on Wednesday. And every other day as we're here to, make their voice and our general thoughts heard by adults.
I'm part of this fourth annual Youth Parliament because I believe it's a grand celebration of our democracy and the mechanisms of that democracy. It gives young people of our country a remarkable opportunity to be part of the national discourse on topics that are impacting our daily lives. And I honestly believe if we have more individuals like these young people involved in national discourse at all levels, our country will be moving forward. We will be more relevant in this century, we'll be more relevant in the Caribbean and Latin America, and we'll truly take our rightful place in this world.
As the fourth annual Youth Parliament got underway, the budding parliamentarians presented their ideas on how they would make a difference and why youth inclusion in decision-making at the highest level is crucial. In the first 3 days, the young people were engaged in interactive, educational, and fun-filled activities. There were also practice sessions for the upcoming 2 days of parliamentary debates. The young parliamentarians were exposed to the art of public speaking, facilitated by the Cacique Toastmasters. Guiding the students were 5 mentors, including Dominique Clark and Ruth Wilson. Clark and Wilson are former youth parliamentarians.
And I was a part of the 3rd annual Youth Parliament, which was last year.
I was a part of the 2nd annual Youth Parliament, which was in 2016. And the first item on the program was the art of public speaking with the Cacique Toastmasters Club. They basically had an interactive session with the students, teaching them tips, skills, assets that they can use on the debate day and in the future, depending on their career paths and stuff like that. So they could be better individuals. They won't be nervous when it comes to public speaking or impromptu speech.
I think they did really well because after they presented, they asked a few questions to the children, impromptu. So they had to go to the mic and just elaborate about what the topic that they would give. So I think they did very well about on elaborating on those topics and questions.
I'm not a public speaking person. So when they gave us this opportunity to learn from the Cacique Toastmasters Club, I was excited because Usually I just tremble when I'm talking in front of people, and they taught me stuff like channel your nervous energy, and when you walk up towards the stand, you walk proudly, you accept your applause, and so on. So I think I'll be able to use that in this parliament.
I'm not that much of a public speaker either, and the nerves get the best of me most of the times. But the main idea, the main point I gathered for them is that you look the person in the eye you're talking to. But if you're not, like me, if you're not that confident, you look at the forehead or the nose to help with the nervousness.
In the days leading up to the debates, the mentors spoke of the students' preparedness for the sessions. Mentors Stefan Gabriel and Travis Bruce had been working mostly with the secondary school students.
The secondary school students, I've had most contact with them. I think they're not 100% complete, but most of them have completed their speeches. If not their entire speech, they've completed from introduction and bodies. The only thing that is left for them to conclude. A lot of work has been put into this, a lot of work. The children have been trying continuously to get their speeches to the right place, whereby they've been staying up later, they've been having discussions with one another, and they've been just trying to get this off because they don't want to go up tomorrow. Because remember, they're representing their regions and they're representing their schools. So they don't want to go tomorrow and just not do their best. So we've been working with them to do their best, and I think we're about, let's say, 90% off. Just 10% remaining, and we're set for tomorrow.
And we're basically going to help them mold their speeches to something more solid and more practical to the Guyanese society, and also help them with their delivery in public speaking, because they would have had a session with the Toastmasters group. So we just want to brush up on those skills that they would have learned so that tomorrow there's a heated debate and a very fruitful and productive discussion.
After 3 full days of activities and training sessions, the students were ready to engage in the debates, where they would be judged on best debating team, speaker, and debater. The first round of debates on August 15 were conducted by the secondary school students. The day's proceedings saw students move the 2 motions presented by the government side. There was unanimous agreement on the need to augment efforts to combat climate change and for robust contributions to healthy eating policies. The motion on climate change was moved by Minister of State Amisha Ramdin. In her defense to the motion, Ramdin noted that efforts to reduce the impacts of climate change will have a massive impact on the country's economy.
Public business, government business motions.
Honourable members, the first motion stands in the name of the Honourable Minister of State. Honourable Minister Amisha Ramdin, you may proceed.
Climate change threatens our trees and other plants and jeopardizes our wildlife, especially the endangered and only animals found in Guyana. Our green heart, purple heart, Amazonian lily, and our jaguars, harpy eagles, titan boas, giant otters, giant anteaters, and many more flora and fauna. The Green State Development Strategy ensures development that meets the needs of the present.
Remember, you have 30 seconds remaining.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Without compromising the ability of the future. Therefore, be it resolved that the implementation of the Green State Development Strategy be continued in the pursuit to augment efforts to combat climate change. Food for thought. Quote, "It will be tragic not to protect what we have." Close quote. His Excellency David Granger.
The motion on healthy eating policies was moved by Minister of Public Health Yolanda Lewis.
Honourable members, the next motion stands in the name of the Honourable Minister of Public Health. Honourable Minister Yolanda Lewis, you may proceed.
Strongly supporting Lewis's call to ban the sale of aerated drinks in school was her Shadow Minister Shaquan Gill.
The first be it resolved clause, now restructured, reads that schools throughout Guyana be required by law to put a healthy eating plan into operation that would regulate all food distributors to supply a meal that covers the 6 main food groups to students. Definition of the key terms in the second be it resolved clause are prohibition, the action to forbid by law or rule, Oxford Dictionary, and carbonated beverages, drinks that have had carbon dioxide added to them, Oxford Dictionary. The second be it resolved clause, now restructured, reads that there be an action to forbid by law the distribution and sale of drinks that have had carbon dioxide added to them in schools. Mr. Speaker, my side of the House believes that eating right is indeed a major aspect of living healthily.
The second half of the proceedings focused on motions moved by the opposition side of the House. Those were the enhancement of the education system and amendment to the Representation of the People Act to include youth participation.
Technology is being used in the business sector, the health services, the finance sectors, and many others, which increases the demand for persons with information technology qualifications. This demand cannot be met if we don't train persons and provide the necessary courses and programs for these persons. Mr. Speaker, the education system is responsible for aiding in the providing of future leaders and providing persons with the necessary information to provide them with jobs in the various sectors that are rising. It is the foundation on which a nation is built. The economy itself is changing, and if we don't prepare, then Guyana's economy will surely deplete.
Minister of Education Nicolette Henry, in her role as the Chief Judge, commended the students on a job well done.
All of you did a fantastic job, and I was pleased to see the high quality of your presentations and the confidence demonstrated by all of the speakers. I must say, I noted the passion and conviction in which you took the task, and even sought additional time in one instance to get over your point.
Also commending the students was Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Barton Scotland.
Listening to the arguments, what they showed was that everyone did research, and that's a very commendable thing. It showed that some people got quite involved in the subject.
After tallying the scores, the judges awarded Best Speaker to Arifa Asadali, who was the Shadow Minister of Education, while the Best Debater was conferred on the Prime Minister Jordan Kelman. The next day, the second sitting of the 4th Annual Youth Parliament saw the University of Guyana students engaging in deliberations on 4 motions.
Honourable members, I implore of you today to engage in respectful and fruitful debates as you speak to your motions here today. Honourable members, on today's order paper are 4 motions, namely, augmenting efforts to combat climate change, establishment of a media monitoring unit, amendment to the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act, Chapter 1010, and a local oil refinery. Honourable members, a member shall be entitled to speak for 7 minutes, with the exception of the Leader of the Opposition, and the Prime Minister will be entitled to speak for an allotted time of 15 minutes.
Public business, government's business. Motions.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion which stands in my name titled Augmenting Efforts to Combat Climate Change. It is necessary at this point in time for me to clarify that this motion seeks, Mr. Speaker, to talk about government's efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change on our national development trajectory, more specifically, the Green State Development Strategy. Mr. Speaker, I will seek to address some misconceptions as it relates to the GSDS and the LCDS. Then I will move my discussion along 4 particular lines that will seek to discuss 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations as it relates to this GSDS. Then I will spend, hopefully, my final 2 minutes trying to convince our wonderful members on the opposite side, honourable members, to support this motion by this government.
We are willing to be part of the climate change solution. However, we simply cannot support a motion.
Honourable member, you have 2 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A motion that is kept in secret and is not allowing us to earn as a country while contributing towards climate change. Mr. Speaker, this framework here is a framework of hope rather than one of tangible, detailed policies.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to give my perspectives and moreover that of the opposition and the Guyanese people in this palaver today, as 4 motions were thoroughly discussed. So in this regard, I will vouchsafe pertinent information that will allow this noble House to understand and recognize our importance of the disinclination of the motions of the government. I also stand in full support of the motions put forward by the opposition.
In 2005, we had continuous rainfalls for 3 consecutive days, and it decimated our population with damages and leptospirosis. Imagine the implications when sea levels rise to higher heights, and the only thing standing between 90% of our population and the full force of the Atlantic Ocean is a 4-foot concrete wall. Comrades, old people have a saying, moon a run till day catch 'em. Mr. Speaker, day has caught us. We can run no longer. The time is here and the time is now for the continued implementation of the Green State Development Strategy.
After a heated debate and rebuttals from both sides, the opposition side of the House was declared a winner by a panel of judges which included Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman. Minister Trotman commended the students for selecting current topics and conducting extensive research for their presentations, especially on the issue of climate change and oil refining.
Your research was spot on. I know that there was a degree of nervousness, but I'd like to say that we all learned, not just the judges, but all of us who sat in this afternoon. You took time to research the subject, and you took time to research even the ministry or the minister who you shadowed or represented.
Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Barton Scotland, urged the students to continue to strive for excellence.
However well you did today, there is another rung of the ladder you could climb. Never be contented with what you have achieved. Always ask what else I must do, because you're capable of doing a lot more.
Youth Prime Minister Rion Miller was awarded the Best Debater, while Opposition's Youth Shadow Minister of Natural Resources, Miracle Miller, was awarded Best Speaker. After the sessions, the youth parliamentarians were also treated to a dinner and prize-giving ceremony at the Princess Hotel. Delivering remarks at the dinner, Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge said engaging young people in politics is critical to the development of any country. According to Minister Greenidge, having the youth involved in the decision-making process is important to safeguarding and strengthening democracy.
There are roughly 1.2 billion people aged between 15 and 24 on this planet. And however you look at it, that's a significant proportion of our population. And it means then that balance, justice, or simply sensible politics requires that these people, these persons, be given an opportunity to participate in the process of decision-making, because much of that many of those decisions will affect their lives. We shouldn't restrict ourselves or be alarmed, as sometimes happens. You hear this in the discussions about the readiness or fitness of young people to lead. What we need to do is to ensure that the young people, and to encourage them to see politics, the arena of decision-making, as an arena open to them, as an opportunity for them to contribute to improving the quality of their own life and the society around them.
Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Barton Scotland, told the youth that the government felt richly rewarded regarding the manner in which they conducted themselves during the Youth Parliament, particularly during the debates.
The conduct during the debate also deserves kudos. But the students, they demonstrated an ability, the secondary school students demonstrated an ability to stick to their particular argument, to disagree, and at all times to be mindful of the directions of the speaker.
Some of the youth parliamentarians share their learning experience having participated in the 4th Annual Youth Parliament.
It feels amazing, and it's an amazing opportunity to be a part of the Youth Parliament. I plan to make a change in society for youths all over the world, and not only in the world, but, in my country, not only in my country, but also all over the world.
Well, at first I was really overjoyed to be here, and then when I came, the nervousness took over, but I came through successful. Being here, it was very challenging. Public speaking was my greatest downfall, but From what was said in here, I plan to take away this positivity and carry it back to my school and encourage the youths there and bring them into the aspect of doing public speaking more.
It feels privileged actually because to be a part of something so memorable. Young growing up, I would love to watch the sittings and I'd be so impressed by the women in Parliament, specifically Honorable Minister Priyamanik-Chan. I would love to watch her speak and I hope one day that I could be one of the many, well, few women, which will turn into many, to be in governance and in a lot of other things that can be beneficial to our country.
Well, it was very good. It was an honor to represent University of Guyana at to being part of the first batch of students. And I feel it was a very, very lucrative experience. Well, I'll be taking that experience with me throughout my lifetime. I do plan to get into politics and I plan to be a member of Parliament. So getting this insight will be very helpful for me in the future.
Since its inception in 2015, the annual Youth Parliament has grown with each passing year as it continues to educate and engage young people on the functions of the National Assembly. To discuss and generate ideas on current legislation and policies and their implementation for youths and to promote national unity. You have been watching InfoHub in depth. Do join us again next week. Goodbye.
Why when I drink a nice guy, I get smoking on? Hey barman, y'all don't sell cigarettes anymore?
The new tobacco law says we can't have cigarettes on public display and we can't advertise that we sell it.
Okay, give my part.
You can't do that in here, buddy. The law states that you can't smoke in an enclosed area. You have to go outside.
I think that's how they do it in foreign. So, the law finally comes again. I'm glad though.
Let's all work together to prevent cigarette smoking related illnesses.
Roundabouts. Approaching a roundabout. When you approach a roundabout, you must use your indicator if you intend to turn left or right or make a U-turn at the roundabout. You must give other road users sufficient notice of your intent to turn. Entering a roundabout. When entering a roundabout, you must slow or stop to give way to any vehicle already in the roundabout. You must also continue to use your indicators if you intend to turn left or right or make a U-turn. Turning left. When turning left, you must indicate left on approach and be travelling in the left-hand lane unless there are road markings with other instructions. Stay in the left lane and exit in the left lane. Turning right. When turning right, you must indicate right on approach and be travelling in the right-hand lane unless there are road markings with other instructions. Making a U-turn. When using a roundabout to make a U-turn, you must approach in the right lane and signal right. Changing lanes in a roundabout. Drivers may change lanes in a roundabout if they wish. The usual road rules for changing lanes apply. You must use your indicator and give way to any vehicle in the lane you are entering. Going straight ahead. You don't need to signal when approaching the roundabout if you are going straight ahead. You may approach the roundabout from either the left or right lane unless there are road markings with other instructions. Exiting a roundabout. As when you exit a road, you must signal left when leaving a roundabout, if it is practical to do so, and you should stop indicating as soon as you have exited the roundabout. However, when you are travelling straight ahead on a small single-lane roundabout, it may be impractical to indicate when exiting.